I mute myself again?
Yes. We'll let you know we're about to go live now.
Okay.
All right. We are live here on Facebook. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us this morning. I know everybody has been waiting. We are so sorry. We had a lot of technical challenges this morning. You will not even believe. You would think that someone was paid to destroy what we are doing this morning, but we have overcome as always. We the strong ones. So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Monachim Saga Opala, and I'm here with my sisters and as well as our special guest. I need to turn off my phone. Um, just give me a moment. Let me put this in this not disturb because people will keep calling at the wrong time. So do not disturb. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. It won't happen again. So we have our brother here, Mr. Jonathan Asake, from the Middle Belt region. So he's our guest of honor today. And I have my sisters as well. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves as usual. Sisters, please carry on.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. And as we have our guest is going to give us the middle belt perspective of what we're doing and why this freedom is very, very important for everybody that wants it. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sister Ekwe, please go ahead.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Ekwuta Simon Okube. I live in Lexington, Kentucky. Last week, we had Otumba Shade Olukoya of the Yoruba World Congress. Yoruba World Congress is the body coordinating the Yorubas in the MNN Alliance. Then today, we have Honorable Jonathan Asake, President of Southern Kaduna People's Union, SOCAPU, to give us the Middle Belt perspective, like my sister Augusta said, of things in the MNN Alliance. This is all in the build-up to the multi-regional constitutional force majeure. You see, these representatives of the various alliance partners and territories are coming in to enlighten us about the various remediation actions to which have been in process for some time now, and which by the grace of God is now headed towards the terminal phase. So please hang on, and then when it's time for calling, we want to please the others that are not from Middle Belt to be patient today. Let's allow the brothers and sisters in Middle Belt to be the ones to call in and ask their questions, since we have Honorable here in the house. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Queen. And then, of course, we have the Honorable here with us, and we're going to allow him to formally introduce himself. So please go ahead, Mr. Jonathan Aseke.
Thank you very much. And nice to be here. And thank you for the opportunity. My name, as has been said, I'm Jonathan Asake. I'm a former member of the House of Representatives and a former SSA to former President Obasanjo on National Assembly matters. Presently, I am the national president of the Southern Kaduna People's Union, SOCAPU, an umbrella organization of the ethnic nationalities that are in Kaduna State. In fact, today we have registered with our own organization 67 different ethnic nationalities that are in Southern Kaduna State. And we cover up to 12 of the 23 local governments that make up Kaduna State. So it's not a small area, actually. And the population is about 4.2 million by the 2006 population count, covering Kaduna State is a total landmass of 46,000 square kilometers. Out of that, Southern Kaduna is larger. It is 26,000 square kilometers. So when we talk of Southern Kaduna, it is not a small area. It is more than the size of 16 states That is larger than 16 of the 36 states we have, and is part of the Middle Belt. But some people always say, why will Kaduna State be in the Middle Belt region? Well, the Middle Belt covers 14 states of the 19 states of the North. And those 14 states are the entire 6 states of the North Central Zone and the FCT, and then the Northeast. And then in the Northwest, we have Southern Kaduna and Southern Kebbi. And then Southern Bauchi, Southern Gombe, Southern Yobe. They are all parts of the Middle Belt. So the Middle Belt is the larger part, 14 states out of 19 states, of the region. But if you look at the politics in the Middle Belt, you will see that that large area does not benefit from the resources of Nigeria, commensurate with its size and its population. So we have become the hewers of the wood only, while we do the job for others. And of course, the same thing goes with Southern Kaduna State. And when you talk of Southern Kaduna, you will see that, being larger in terms of population and in terms of landmass, but when you talk about political delineation, you'll find out that it has been difficult to even have a governor coming from that place by the normal electoral process, because the electoral distribution of the distribution of electoral units, polling units, and the electoral structures are skewed against the Southern Kaduna people, to the extent that with the large population, with the landmass, we cannot possibly, at any given time, produce a governor. And that takes us back to the 1999 Constitution. And this Constitution has made it that we have become like slaves in our land. And that is what we have been struggling against, we have been fighting against up till now. I have not gone into the issues, the main issues that are happening to our population on a daily basis. The issues of marginalization, oppression, and enslavement, and of course, the recent attacks and the massacre that has been going on around the Middle Belt on a daily basis. As I'm talking now, right now, since morning, communities in Southern Kaduna are going through attacks by Fulani herdsmen militia. Very severe attacks. I left Kafanchan yesterday and came to Kaduna city. While I arrived around 7 o'clock, by 8 o'clock, attacks have started in a community called Zipak in Jamal local government. And that is just a continuation of the attacks we're experiencing every day, with huge losses of lives and property. And people are daily being chased out of their ancestral lands into squatting in neighboring communities. Not even to open up IDP camps for them to be catered for, no. But to go and squat in neighboring communities, only waiting for those communities to be further attacked and pushed further to a more deplorable situation of living in other communities. So as I'm talking now, communities in various local governments in Kaduna State have been pushed out, and the aggressors, the invaders, have taken over those communities, with the government doing nothing about it. Now, ditto for Plateau State. where several communities, in fact, as of the last count, 63 communities have been sacked. They cannot go to their farm. Their children are perpetually out of school. They cannot receive medication. Above all, the Fulani herdsmen militia have brought in their cattle and have taken over the same communities. To add salt to injury, there is one particular community in Plateau State.
Hello?
Where those Fulani, for those Fulanis, the aggressors, the ones that chased people out, killed them, raped their women, abducted some into the bush, the owners of the land are staying in squalor outside, waiting only for good-spirited individuals, waiting only for organizations to give them food to eat, to help them with medication, not to talk of school for their children, not to talk of going to their farms. But the government is building schools for the same terrorists that have chased the people out. Now the story is replicated all over in Benue State. Several communities have been sacked in the same manner. In Taraba State, several communities have been sacked in the same manner. In Adamawa State, several communities. In Niger State, the Bagi communities, that one is even more pathetic because most of those people don't even have a voice. There are some of these communities that you will never hear about because they don't have a voice. Nobody can talk for them. So they have resigned their fate to slavery, to suffering, and going through this as if we don't have a government. Now, let me come back to Kaduna State. We have a governor who has shown he has not hidden, the governor of Kaduna State, Governor Nasiru El-Rufai, who has not hidden his total hatred and the agenda he has for the people of Southern Kaduna. And he has continued to bring about policies and implement policies that will continue to suppress the people. Well, like as I'm talking, Zango Katab local government has come under severe attacks for the past 8 weeks. And since those 8 weeks, Fulani herdsmen militia have continued to go from community to community, attacking, maiming, raping, and all kinds of things with mass graves every day. But what the governor will do instead is to impose a 24 hours curfew. Right now, there is a 24 hours curfew in Zangon Katab, local government, Kauru local government. Yesterday, he imposed the curfew again, 24 hours in Tema local government and Kaura local government. While the curfew is enforced, the natives, the indigenous owners of the land, cannot go to their farm. If they risk going to the farm, they will be arrested, they will be detained, they will be maltreated in all kinds of manner. And they have to work hard, we have to work hard to bail them. But the aggressors are left to go free in spite of the curfew. And they go with wielding their guns and shooting and killing and maiming at will, with no effort to apprehend them. All these massacres that have been going on, there has been no one single prosecution or conviction of these aggressors. They are always apprehended, they will be paraded, news will go around that they have been apprehended, but that is the end of the story. Until you see them.
Okay, so I think it's internet connection here. He's still talking, but he's
Into government, Bagi communities. farming communities were invaded by the same herdsmen militia. And they kidnapped 58 people and killed 35 on one day. And they took the 58 into the bush with young teenagers, girls, boys, and old people. They stayed there for 1 month, 1 day. In fact, normally when they are taken into that thick forest, they will be blindfolded. They stay in one place. Feeding, they can only give you maybe gari 1 day, and that's all. You can't take bath. You are blindfolded, you don't know where you are. In fact, when they came out, when some of them came out, because of course some were killed, and some were rescued in far away Katsina State after 1 month, 1 day. When I got in touch with them, the pastor of the community shared with me his own story. He said there was a day, a snake entered his own cloth, was climbing towards his armpit. He got grab of the snake and he was not seen. He got the head of the snake and squeezed it there and removed the snake, but he was blindfolded. Most of them, the women are raped. And they had to sell their land in spite of the fact that the invaders made sure they destroyed everything, anything, their food stores, their animals, and they pack what they could pack, what they could not pack, they destroyed. And that is what happened. But when 26 of them were rescued in Katsina State, from Kaduna State, they were moved until they reached Katsina State. Distance of several kilometers. Now, when they were rescued in Katsina, the Katsina Police Command brought them to Kaduna, took them to Government House. The Governor Erufai, they just packaged these people without taking them to a trauma care, without even taking them to a hospital, with all those teenage girls. They took them back to Batna, their community, along Birningwari, and left without food. That is the story of what our people are going through on a daily basis. And nobody heard about it. And until we in Sokapu had to look for food and clothing materials to take to them. And it's even risky to go there because you may be carrying that food and you are in trouble. And so this story is replicated all over Kaduna State, Southern Kaduna, all over the Middle Belt areas. And so we keep wondering, what is making the government to be insensitive? Nothing else. There is only one agenda. The agenda is taking over of our lands. Our lands, they are in their needs of our lands. Southern Kaduna is the gateway to the Middle Belt. The Middle Belt is the gateway to the South. So when these things, these atrocities, if they are able to supplant Southern Kaduna, they will be able to supplant other communities of the Middle Belt. If they are able to supplant communities of the Middle Belt, ultimately the Southern zone part of the country will fall. And that is our agenda. And so this is the story of our people in Southern Kaduna State and our people in the Middle Belt region.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable. These tales are very gory and very, very sad.
In fact, let me quickly just say one thing that happened again in a community called Galwi in Chuku local government, the Bagi community. These invaders went to the community. Having packed everything, they chased the men away and then left the daughters and the wives and then occupied the village and turned them into sex slaves. And they occupied that community for 2 weeks. We cried and cried to the government, cried to the authorities, but it was on deaf ears. In fact, that when the men finally, some of them came, some were killed. When they finally came, some of the women said, no, we do not have honor again to stay with you as wives. The daughters said, we do not have honor to stay with you again as our parents, as our fathers. And most of them left. Where did they live to? only God knows. And these stories, if I begin to share the stories of what we're going through in this region, in Kaduna State, why our own in Kaduna State is worst is because in BWS State we have a governor who is working hard round the clock to see that he battles the problem of this herdsmen militia. The same thing goes with Taraba State and other states. But in Kaduna State, we have a governor who suggests by every action he takes, it suggests complicity on what is going on with our people. All these attacks I've been talking about, right from January up till now, there is no single day that passes without an attack. There is no single day that passes without a mass burial. But he has not in any 1 minute to say, oh, let me pretend to condemn these attacks. Or let me go and see these people. No, he will not. On the victims. He had a media chat the day before yesterday where he came out and told Nigerians that the people of Southern Kaduna State are the ones that have killed Fulanis and the Fulanis can revenge. The president himself, a statement was made a few days ago by Garba Shehu, the special assistant to the president, on media. And he blamed the attacks and the killings in Southern Kaduna that it is because of gangs, rival gangs, which is not true. That is misleading the world. Rival gangs, our 67 ethnic nationalities, and we have other Southerners that are staying with us, like the Yorubas, the Igbos, Ijos, Efik, Tiv, Plateau. No single misunderstanding with one another. The only thing we know is that these herdsmen come to invade our communities and they don't spare anybody. Whether you are Igbo or you are Yoruba or you are Southern Kaduna, they kill, they maim, they rape, they abduct, they claim ransom just to dig. Our people have decided is that they can break our bonds, but they will not break our spirit. That is the resolution, and we are determined for that.
Wow. It's so sad that people, citizens are being killed, yet the government is supporting the invaders. It's quite sad. I've never seen a thing like that, where citizens of a country are not protected. Rather, the invaders are protected and enabled. Thank you so much for enlightening us, Honorable. So we we hear things about the government proposing Ruga and cattle set colonies and stuff like that. So do you think it is an attempt to Fulanize the entire Nigeria? Because you have mentioned about the Kaduna being the gateway to Middle Belt and Middle Belt being the gateway to the entire South. So they are very strategic in their move. Can you throw more light about this Ruga settlement and the cattle colony issue?
As the invaders are invading using force and occupying, the government on its own part is using government power to bring about policies that will take the lands from the natives and give it to the Fulanis. And so that is what I always call the Fulanization process in this country. When they brought the issue of the grazing reserves, I have shared this story before. What we have as a grazing reserve in Kaduna State, the government in 1997 took 33,000 hectares of land and created a grazing reserve out of it. That is not a small land. From Zangon local government, my own local government. And that 33,000 hectares of land, it was meant for grazing. That is just to keep animals, rear cattle. But today, that place all the country and outside the country are gathering there, building their houses. And from there, we have all the attacks that are taking place in Southern Kaduna. They are being coordinated from there. And this governor came in and increased the size of that land, that grazing reserve. They call it the Laduga Grazing Reserve, and increased it from 33,000 hectares to 74,000 hectares without going through any due process. And then he moved it administratively from Zangon Katab to Kacha local government without going through the National Boundary Commission. These are gross violations of the Constitution. But in this administration, who cares? The Constitution of 1999 has given the window for people to get in power and continue to do things with impunity, and nothing happens. That is what we are going through. Now, this Laduga, which was a grazing reserve, the fastest growing town in Southern Kaduna today is that Laduga. In fact, since this governor came, the biggest project he is doing in Southern Kaduna is in Laduga. And so that is exactly what I told the world when the Ruga thing was coming up. This Ruga project and to build 6 Ruga in every state. If you make a rough calculation, 6 times 36, you are going to get about 212 Ruga. And that was the intent, to build 212 Ruga sponsored by the federal government with the taxpayers' money of all of us Nigerians, but exclusively for Fulani people. And what that meant, what that implies is that, like we have Laduga today, Laduga, they have a district head, a Fulani man. They are demanding for an emirate. And an emirate, the present governor wants to create an emirate in Laduga. And that was the intent, to create this Ruga all over the nation, 212, starting project, mind you. That is not the end. Where, for instance, in Anambra State, where you have 6 Ruga settlements, the next thing, they will have emirates. You have the emir of one Ruga settlement in Anambra State. The next thing is to have a political constituency, maybe House of Assembly. And that is how the demographics will change. And so we rose up against this Ruga. And then they now came up with the National Livestock Transformation Program. So once defeated here, it turns up here. But the government is continuously using government policy and government power and the instrument of government to now again change demographics, take over land and give it to Fulani. So that is what I always call the Fulanization agenda of Nigeria, and which Nigerians must rise up to see, because Fulanis have been invited from outside the countries, in other neighboring West African countries, and they have been trooping in, and they are the ones that are collaborating with the local Fulanis to be killing in the way they are doing. And that model again came from Sudan. The Sudan model in Southern Sudan, if you remember, in Darfur, where the Ruga version of it is called the Damurats, where the government sponsored the Janjaweed, and they were attacking communities and establishing the Ruga version, which they call the Damurats, to change the demographics. So that Sudanese version model is the one that is being implemented in Nigeria to change the demographics, to take over the land from the indigenous owners and give it to the Fulanis, and we ultimately will have a Fulanization agenda that has taken all over the country. If it succeeds in the Middle Belt, it will ultimately get to the southern part, and that is where we are.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
Go ahead.
are we able to play some of those videos yet?
Yes, which ones?
Okay, let's play the senator's own, collaborating what Honorable had just told us.
Okay.
That the governor is in, he's supporting this whole thing. Just, at the mouth of one or two witnesses.
Caused by the governor of
Absolutely.
because she's not putting all the necessary things in place.
The reason is playing and the audio is not.
The responsibility, she leaves them all. And of course, anything that happens, he knows that he pretends not to know. That's not supposed to be.
Okay. Okay.
Why should other people be suffering and other ones pretending not to? It is not a must that I must vote for somebody. I can vote somebody because I want that person. And if that person is not voted into power, should it be a reason for hating that person? So you say that because Sarah can let
imposed by the governor of
revenge on them? That's supposed not to be.
because she's not putting all the necessary things in place. The responsibility, she leaves them all. And of course, anything that happens, he knows that he pretends not to know. That's not supposed to be. Why should other people be suffering and other ones be pretending not to? It is not a must that I must vote for somebody. I can vote somebody because I want that person. And if that person is not voted into power, should it be a reason for hating that person? So he's telling us that because Sarah can let people and he's trying to take revenge on them. That's supposed not to be.
All right. So that's the senator there speaking. The audio is finished. So Asake, go ahead.
Okay, do we have some of those pictures of the killings?
Yes, I posted it while he was talking.
Okay, beautiful.
Yes.
So, Honorable, at the 2019 International Religious Freedom Ministerial Roundtables in Washington, D.C., where the Secretary General of Lower Niger Congress, Mr. Tony Nadi, made a number of presentations. You people, your people, the Middle Belt victims, survivors team, they gave chilling and gruesome accounts of attacks by the Fulani invaders, just like what you are giving to us now. So we find out that with the Fulani invasion now spreading towards the southern part of Nigeria, like you gave us the details of the plans they have and how they're executing it line upon line. Can you bring our viewers, up to date on the joint efforts of the peoples of southern and middle belt of Nigeria, particularly the MNN Alliance? How is this new majority seeking to quarantine this spreading cancer? Because we can see that this is a very dangerous cancer and it's spreading at an alarming rate that if care is not taken, we will all be consumed. Please, can you give us more, like the parts, the middle belts, they are playing in the alliance that we've been talking about?
Honestly, the alliance between the middle belt and the southern Nigeria, which we have in place today, to me, is the only ray of hope we have to take back the soul of this country from the terrible agenda set for this country by the Fulanis in this country. This alliance will ensure that if the Middle Belt and the South, Southeast, Southwest will come together, we are clearly the majority. And that will ensure that we will determine the constitution we have today. We don't know how it was manufactured. We don't know where it was cooked. This constitution was just cooked by a few people, and then it has the opening that say we the people of Nigeria. It is never we the people of Nigeria. It is a few individuals that want to supplant every Nigerian. We the Nigerians, the Negro tribes of Nigeria, they plan to supplant us and change demographics and take over the country and enslave every one of us. So it is necessary for this coming together to take back the soul of Nigeria and ensure freedom for everybody. We want a country where everybody will be free, where there will be justice, where there will be fairness, where there will be equity. Nobody wants a nation where somebody will be oppressed. The world over frowns at that. So we will not in Nigeria accept that. And this alliance, I have been part of it, and it has been going on well, and will continue the efforts until we rescue this nation that is already drifting towards a total collapse.
A little bit of audio issue,
And let me say something here. Politically, you see, I have always laughed at it when people have been made to believe that the Northwest Zone has this huge population, and everybody that comes from the South who wants to contest for election will have to go and be on his knees and go on his tummy and prostrate and power brokers.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes back to his people. That is fallacy. Let me tell you, if a true population count should be made today, it will unveil the truth about our nation, the falsehood that has been perpetrated over a long period of time. And that is what we must be determined to do. An example, for instance, Kaduna State and Katsina State were together. It's only in 1997 that the state was divided into two, between Kaduna State and Katsina State today. Now let me tell you, coming from somewhere, they are coming from the south, and everybody just run to the center and pick the resources. That is why the creation of local governments in the constitution, every local government is mentioned there, so every local government is given resources. Now, Katsina State had
a little bit of audio issue. He's calling from the
1970s. Then today, and when at the time we were divided, Katsina State had 7 local governments. Kaduna had 7 local governments, despite the fact that Kaduna was larger. But today, Katsina State has 34 local governments, and Kaduna has 23. You know why? Because they cannot afford to continue to create local governments where we have the population in the southern part. And so Kaduna has only 23. So why would Katsina have 34 local governments? It's less in population, it's less in landmarks, and it has 34 local governments, a difference of 11 local governments. Kano State. Kano has 44 local governments today. Kano was together with Jigawa. If you go to Kano State today, you have the only city you can have in Kano State is that Kano City. Now, Kano was together with Jigawa. Today, Kano has 44 local governments. Jigawa has 29 local governments. If you put it together, you have 73 local governments. How many local governments are in the whole entire southeast region? 70, is it? I think it's 80, is it 84? Now, which means that Kano and Jigawa that were in one state before, they now have more local governments than the entire or almost the same local governments with the entire southeast. Is there any injustice that can be up to that? But we have to open our eyes and see these things, that these structures were made and perpetrated, and they have continued under falsehood to hold them against every Nigerian. The same thing goes with the Middle Belt region. If you come to my areas, why we cannot win for governorship, for instance, if you come to my areas, you find out that where you have a population, the community, of the Fulani community, and then you have less polling units with the indigenous community. This fraud is what we must look into and look at it all over again if we must rescue Nigeria. Because this fraud is actually what has caused the imbalance and why every southerner who is having quality to rule, where every middle belter will want to think that we have to go to the northwest to be anointed. It's a fraud.
Unbelievable.
Wow, that is so unbelievable. So, Honorable, let me ask this quick question. In 2000, there was an introduction of Sharia law with the 12 core northern states. That means that these 12 core northern states have succeeded from the secular, democratic, and federal union of Nigeria. This kind of gave the people of Middle Belt the signal of what is ahead, that, oh, we are not together anymore. So in recent times, we have heard prominent sons of Middle Belt speak out boldly against this genocide, like General T.Y. Danjuma, a one-time chief of army staff, and the former defense minister of Nigeria. He was one of those that has spoken out against this level of injustice. So there is a clip about where with Frank Gaffney that even mentioned one of your sons, Mr. Stephen Enada. So how prepared are you, or how prepared do you think your people are to end this Nigerian ordeal and this nightmare? How prepared are the Middle Belters for doing this?
Let me be very frank here. All these Fulani massacres here, attacks there, and whatever, on their own, even Fulanis that had come from outside, if they are left on their own, they will be out of Kaduna State, out of the Middle Belt in less than a week.
Yes.
I can assure you that. But because the government is in the hands of the same people, and the instrument of government, power, is in the hands of the same people, so it is all networked. A phone call just came to me before we started this discussion, where the attacks were going on in Zipak, that community I told you about in Kafanchan, and there were no security people, and so the youth of the area had to go to rescue the people that are being killed. I will send the video to you. You see what has just happened today, and you will see. You will not believe it is Nigeria of 21st century. Wow. And so, when the youth went to rescue the people that were under siege by these attackers, that is when the security forces went in and began to arrest them, taking over their machetes and their then guns that they used to rescue their own parents, to rescue their own brothers and their own siblings and their own grandparents. And that is the story that we have every day. So the level of preparedness is to the extent that, look, we Nigerians must rise up to look at this issue of massacres, the issue of the genocide going on in Kaduna State as the ultimate agenda for every one of us in the rest of the country. That is the ultimate agenda. If this agenda succeeds in Southern Kaduna and succeeds in the Middle Belt, if the South is quiet about it, if the South becomes onlookers, then this agenda, when it succeeds in the Middle Belt, it will be as much easy like ABCD in the South.
Exactly.
And that is the one I'm passing now. But I am also using this opportunity to cry out on behalf of my people in Southern Kaduna, to call for help. Genocide is going on in Southern Kaduna under the watch of Governor Nasiru El-Rufai, who by every action or inaction suggests complicity. And I am crying to the world, please,